By the way, I sent a picture of one of the Steves to my friend and I was like, hey, this is like how I want to look. And he was like, you're kind of there already. And I was like, oh my God.
Is that why you're filming yourself outside of your own house, Mikey, and then posting it on social media?
Well, that was, yeah.
I love you're
Uh,
gonna go to an explanation of that. You're like, no,
yeah.
you're absolutely right.
Yep.
Well, see, it scared me at first. I thought that was a missing poster sign at first. I was like, have you seen this person? It's Mikey.
Have you seen this hot guy with milky jugs out on the loose? It's me.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer's next
It
meal.
looked like a scene from Paranormal Activity. I go, what is happening at Mikey's house?
My tits just out. The only thing Paranormal Activity was missing were just low quality surveillance camera tits, and I provided.
Well, you know, Mikey, you can get like that real fast. Like, what's his name? Steve and Steve.
It's more like smack and spank.
Just take a bunch of steroids.
That's coming up next. You joke, but if I go as far as I can naturally and I'm not happy,
do they really make your junk shrink?
they make your balls shrink.
Actually, I heard Romina's or my sister-in-law's boyfriend. He's like, oh, I'm going to try to take steroids because you have to like take steroids and then you do a little bit of. It's like you got to balance different hormones.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, he's trying to get up there.
But so I already am in danger of that side effect because I do testosterone. Testosterone shrinks your testicles and actually makes you, is it impotent when you don't have swimmers in your sperm?
When you can't get hard, it's impotent.
What does it mean when you're shooting blanks?
You're
I think
sterile.
It's exactly that.
You're sterile. No, impotency. When you guys are older and you can't get it up.
Too late. Thanks, Viagra.
I think it's called fat free.
This is Slashers, your favorite horror podcast about your favorite horror media. It is me, Mikey, joined by my favorite colleagues, co-hosts, and cohorts. We have Doug, we have Lance, and our next co-host needs no introduction. Today we are reviewing 1980. Why? It's a good thing.
Oh, Aid's got her witch
Aid's
finger
here,
up.
everybody. Aid's here.
I have had a day.
When haven't you had a day?
Oh, shut up. Anyways, continue, Mikey.
Girl has a Lifetime original movies lined up already.
I should.
Today we are reviewing for chapter 3 of our James Cameron month. I forgot his name again. Beetlejuice by Tim Burton from 1988. Yes. The movie is younger than I am by months.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it came out the year that your hottest co-host was born.
No, I said I was born in 87. Thank you.
I thought that sandworm looked familiar.
Didn't we make that joke last time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Doug's recycling material again.
Yeah, who's gonna remember?
Hang on. Doug, you fucked me up. Now you got me fucked up, Doug.
Yeah, now he's thinking about sandworms and what they do.
Well, that's
the SNS horror show. You're gonna.
Ooh. Well, I'm just, my goodness. If we were Dune and they're the sandworms, they can go in and out of me all they want. Is that no? That's okay. Neither here nor there. Lance is very uncomfortable. Everybody.
Am I all right? How you doing?
Yes, this is week 3. Coming with.
Stop doing your little sex worker voice on there. Like, come on. This is Slashers podcast.
I'm just kidding. Just for Mikey though.
Lance, I already had a reupholster this fucking chair. I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah, Lance, we got mid-shaft gashes. We can't keep doing this.
I know.
Oh my God.
Every time I sit down, it's like a damn sponge noise happens.
I should just leave the room. Goodbye, everybody.
Isn't it a compliment when someone says our next co-host needs no introduction? I don't know why she's upset about it. Anyways, someone wanted to watch this movie. 7
people on this damn show. How are we supposed to know who the next co-host is? Oh, but yes, somebody wanted to watch this movie, and that would be me.
Okay, as long as it's not producer Gunn, because I was about to go off the fucking rails again if it was him.
We had a lot to say before
Beetlejuice.
the camera turned on. And
that's
then
because
everyone's
y'all
like
threw
all
me off my
fucking
groove.
quiet. I know. Well, because Mikey started thinking about Steve and his wet sponge and whatnot. So
Steve and
I don't know.
Steve. Daddy
Yeah.
and Daddy.
You're making
Yeah.
everybody jealous, Mikey.
I know. Hopefully they just like our posts and don't actually listen to the show.
Lance and Austin are gonna go home and cry now.
Sorry, boys. I found another to fill my holes. But speaking of filling holes with giant sandworms, we are reviewing 1988's Beetlejuice. Is this Tim Burton's most famous film? Yes or no?
Is it me? Is it my sound, or is Mikey cutting out?
No, it sounds good to me.
Yeah, sounds
All
good
right.
here.
So it's me. It's my shitty. One
So
Oh, I
second.
hear it.
This is why we have fucked up silences now, because we're actually not having any silences. She just can't hear us.
She's already making a face.
And that's why I think 8 is the best co-host on Slasher's podcast.
Oh yeah, I keep clapping. This is nut fanning 101. But yeah, and to answer your question, Mikey, I do think this is Tim Burton's best movie. And as much as I love Mars Attacks, I think this one is it's funny because this one like deals with like death and like all like his Tim Burton-y stuff, but I remember seeing this as a kid and like my great grandma loved it. Everyone I knew loved this movie. You know what I mean? It captures everyone's attention. You know what I mean? Everyone seems to like this movie. So it's probably his best liked movie. I mean, my personal favorite is Mars Attacks, but this is probably his best.
I always keep forgetting he does other stuff. Like when you say Mars Attack, I'm like, oh, he did that. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Oh yeah, I forgot he did that. Go ahead, Ed.
No, I honestly think that this is probably his most iconic film because what do we not reference from Beetlejuice even to this day? Right? Like everybody knows, like even when Robin Thicke came out with that pinstripe suit, everyone's like, look at Beetlejuice, right? So it's like we all know who he is. And if you didn't watch the movie, you watched the cartoon, you were a kid. And because I grew up on the cartoon.
Me too.
Obviously, because I was a baby. I wasn't even born when this came out. Because this came out in March and I was born in June. So I watched the cartoon first, and then obviously I saw the movie when I was a little bit older to understand it. Because like you're kind of like when you first watch it, it's just Alec Baldwin and Geena Davis running around. And if you're a kid watching it, you're like, what the fuck is happening, right? And then you don't really get into it until like they die, and then it gets exciting. So, I could see why kids probably wouldn't watch this, but I also think it's pretty family friendly for the most part, except for when he's yelling fuck. And then he kind of marries Lydia at the end. So maybe that's not so family friendly, but I
Little
didn't really
creeper.
think anything of it back in the day. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's probably one of his best. I would say his best. Yeah.
I wonder if people haven't seen it, like if kids haven't seen it, but they understand all the cultural references, if they think he's like the main character or the good guy in the movie. Because he's not. He's
not. He's like the con man, really, like a used car salesman. But yeah, it's funny because like I always thought that as a kid too. I'm like, is he a villain or is he bad? But then they made the whole cartoon show about him where he's like, they made it more like Drop Dead Fred. If you've seen Drop Dead Fred, the cartoon's more like that.
Movie.
That's what I was gonna say. Is what I like about Beetlejuice is it's that time period, like late 80s, early 90s, where we had those like what the fuck movies like Drop Dead Fred, My Boyfriend's Back, Beetlejuice, Tammy and the T-Rex. Like those are like very I can't even think of the word, not even campy, just like out there.
It's like very zany. It's like zany and like just off the wall type stuff where it's kind of like you think you're getting one thing and then you're getting a whole different thing, because it does kind of come off funny as in like, oh, they want the people out of the house kind of vibe, and he's the pro of getting people out. But then it's like, I mean, the fact that he drops the dad literally above a stairwell to a flat ground, that dad should be dead. Like just straight up, like there's no reason that dad should have lived that.
Yeah, he had a Band-Aid on his head. So.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Is this a soap opera?
Exactly.
Obviously, I'm assuming all you guys saw this when y'all were young. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, yeah.
I'm a little bit of a late bloomer. I have only seen this year, actually, when I came back from California after Doug housed me for some time. He gave me a copy, and I was like, "Oh, look, I've never seen this." And I watched it, and when I first watched it, I really, really liked it. The score was great. Like the film itself is visually pleasing to watch. It's so bonkers that like you're not really bored. What is interesting is it is PG, but and even though it is family friendly, there are quite a bit like of frightening scenes. Like Olivia wasn't with me, but sometimes I think this is a PG-13 quote unquote horror movie. Like, how would Olivia do? There are some scenes that I don't think she would vibe with, like when Gina Davis's character tries to haunt them the first time and she's hanging in the closet and her eyes pop out. When he comes out with that carousel on his head and like his arms are all like that stuff's kind of like disturbing.
But also, you think about this, it's like 1988's version of PG.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the level of like where, I mean, especially this part where she has Alec Baldwin's severed head in hand. Like, you know, that's very like horror movie-esque. Even for the back then, it would have been pretty decent, you know, graphic.
Yeah.
So it's surprising how it's PG.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the color palette too. Like it's meant to look like a child's imagination. Then you've Lydia, who's a child, and you know, what is this? His second film? Is this Tim Burton's like second movie?
I think this was the second one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pee-wee was first, and then
So you're coming off the heels of Pee-wee, which is quote a children's movie, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like if you watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure again, there's some scenes in there that are pretty creepy.
Well,
You
so
know?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure was based off of what's his name? Paul Rubens' stage show, which the stage show was geared more towards adults. There you go.
Here we go.
R.I.P.
Mr. crying about his high school pizza shirt. He finally got it.
Oh.
It did me dirty.
The original stage play was geared towards adults. You know, he came from a comedy troupe that had Elvira was in it. That's why they were still friends, even as he was sick. And I forgot the guy's name, but the guy also in Pee-wee's, the ones that's always fighting with him, they were in the same troupe as well. So that's kind of how Pee-wee's Adventure started, and then they kind of just like marketed more towards like younger, being innocent, kind of playing it serious, even though he's like a grown adult playing like a 12-year-old who owns a house. But I'm looking at, it looks like, why is it not showing? Oh, haha. I'm trying to see if it was his second movie, but for some reason these movies are out of order. And it looks like he did also executive produce the Beetlejuice TV show. I don't remember the TV show.
Well, the TV
Yeah,
show had
cartoon or
Danny
TV show?
Elfman's score in it. The cartoon.
Yeah, and
Oh,
if
yeah, the
you
cartoon, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to have like the VHSs as a kid, so I would rewatch them all. And it's funny because Tim Burton, I think he did some of the drawings originally, like the original concept art for some of the stuff in the cartoon. Because there's an episode I remember where it's like he's like the sad prince, like because remember they go in the Netherworld and stuff. But I shit you not, there is an episode with the Corpse Bride and Victor in there, like before that Corpse Bride was even a thing. So, you know, it's the
I
exact
believe
same
it.
one. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's the
Yeah.
Corpse Bride guy and the Corpse Bride.
He recycles so many things that like visuals that he's used, like you know, in Batman Returns, like Max Shrek the cat is very similar to that little flying thing that gets the kids in A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh
The
yeah.
cat bat.
The little cute thing. That's what it
Yeah.
looks like. Yeah. So like he kind of recycles a lot of his images, which
I'm sure he has like a slew of like drawings just laying around that didn't go well with one concept of what he was trying to do, and then he sees it and goes, "Oh yeah, maybe we'll just redo that," like you were saying.
Yeah, because you could probably YouTube it, but seriously, like go to like the Beetlejuice cartoon. One of the episodes is the two people from Corpse Bride. So like just in 2D format. So
Oh, I love that though. I love that show. That show used to be my favorite show. I would watch it all the freaking time. Like it was like one of my favorite cartoons. And he was so funny and he was like this pudgy little, and it's just strange because I think back on it now, I'm like, that's kind of weird that this grown ass man is hanging out with this child.
You
I was
married her.
Yeah, but when I was a kid, I was like, oh, this is great. I love Beetlejuice. He's so fun. So, you know, when I didn't know he was the bad guy in the movie, because in the cartoon, he's the good guy.
Well, they're pals in the cartoon. If
Yeah,
I'm
they're
not
like
mistaken,
best
right?
friends.
Yeah.
She hangs out with him. She goes down, throw in the little car, and it's Danny Elfman's
Uh,
score, and it's do do do, and it's
my
so
brother actually did
fun.
a commercial for Beetlejuice to say like it's showtime, but he was really bad at it. Like director kept going, say it one more time. He goes, it's showtime, and he goes, okay, do it a little bit different. It's showtime. And the guy's like just sitting there like this. Okay, we're good.
Was the
Like,
commercial made?
yeah. It's somewhere, but it's like it was for Fox back in the day or whatever it was. But yeah, it was hilarious. I remember just sitting on the sideline with my mom, just going, "Wow, dude, that was bad."
Oh my God. Speaking of sitting on the sideline, quick side story. When I was taking my graduation photos, my little sister, she's hope she doesn't listen, it's fine. She was sitting on the side, kind of like how you were when your brother was doing this. And it was just
Yeah.
graduation photos. I was in no mood as I usually am. And I was like trying hard not to fake smile because you can tell when people fake smile. And my sister's like sneezing. And this is back when I was in high school, and my sister was in elementary school, and like we didn't get along. So just her sneezing bothered me. And so I could just feel my rage just coming up because she keeps sneezing. And she sneezes and lets out the hugest fart that ripples along the wooden bench. And I kept those senior pictures because I am not fake smiling in them. Like it was the funniest, loudest noise. And I like to bring it up to my sister once in a while, who's 26 now. But anyways, that's what you reminded me of when you were talking about that story.
That's so funny.
But okay, so Lance's brother fucked up the Beetlejuice commercial. And so with Beetlejuice, it was his second full-length feature, the third one being Batman, Bitman. And so I watched it a couple months ago when I got back. And then I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a bitch. But when we had to watch it again for this episode.
You are.
I know. I think Doug was like, did you like it? And I was like, yeah, I really liked it. But like, I found it hard to watch it again. I don't know if you guys, because people like really go for this movie. They're like, I'll watch it every day. My friend dresses like a female version of Beetlejuice for Halloween every year. Like, people are obsessed with this movie. And I'm like, it was good, but I'm not inclined to watch it that much. How do you guys feel about rewatches of Beetlejuice?
I enjoy it every time. Like for me, it's one of those movies that like, I mean, I've seen it so many times. It's kind of like the Toxic Avenger for me, where it's like, I probably, if I don't see it again, it's like I could still replay it. I've seen it so many times. But I think what's fun, I think maybe I know you just watched it again. Watch it with Olivia. I think that might give you more perspective. I think she'll really enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, and that'll make you have more fun watching it too.
We'll revisit it in a year.
I think I watched it when I was Olivia. Olivia's what, 7?
She'll be 7 this month.
Okay, yeah, I watched it around Olivia's age. She's fine. She'll be fine.
I think it. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, go ahead, Lance.
Go ahead, Lance.
The floor is yours.
You already opened your flaps. Go ahead.
Yeah, you weren't in the room. Aid
I
wasn't
know.
in the room because she wasn't part of the patriarchy. Or what's that line in The New Exorcist?
Shut up.
No, it was just. I think it's funny because like this time around, like like I'm kind of like how you are, Doug, where it's kind of an easy remember. Like you've seen it enough times where it's just kind of like, oh yeah. I thought to myself, maybe I don't have to watch it to do this, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch it and see if I could like look out for things that I didn't really pay attention to last time. And I realized that a lot of times, Delia's mom, it's her stepmom, but she says mom more often than she says stepmom throughout the whole movie, which I thought was kind of weird. Like, was she younger enough to be, kind of considered her mom, or did they have a situation in the structure of the storyline they didn't know it was going to be her actual mom? Because they're both redheads, and yet weirdly Delia doesn't have red hair. She's like a dark-haired child. Usually you can get away with that if like one of them has red hair and only one doesn't. But I mean, just little stupid things like that. I just started kind of paying attention to those type things, and the fact that earlier on in the movie, they're not trying to do the thing because they got made fun of because people can't see them when they're dead. But yet later on, before they knew they existed, they still tried to do a whole thing where, they show up again, like in other ways. And then all of a sudden now that the people can see them. Yeah. So I thought it was kind of weird how like the structure of the movie kind of like goes back on itself here and there throughout the movie. So that was kind of cool to watch it this time with that kind of eyesight.
So what Lance is saying is it was written and executed poorly. But I thought, didn't the handbook teach them how to haunt, and that's why they could see them later? Because they were doing Oh, so Lance
Well,
just
no, I
wasn't
mean-
paying attention.
No. The only person that had the book earlier was Ozo.
Otho.
Ozo.
Othello.
Yeah, no. So I think what ends up happening is that Lydia explains earlier that the people choose to ignore the dead, right? And so
Yeah.
I think eventually when the adults really start believing that at some point they do see them, because they hold a seance and they bring them back to life, so to speak. But then they start to rot, which that part always scared me as a kid. I don't know why, but now that I'm afraid of getting old, now I know why.
Olivia will be fine then.
Part scared me. But I was looking up, and Catherine O'Hara was only 34 when she
Damn, I'm older than
filmed
her
this.
now.
Yeah, so she would have had, so Lydia is supposed to be like what, 14 in the movie? So
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess,
it
or
stands
something
to
close to that.
reason that she would have had a 14-year-old. But no, I mean, I think it makes sense that Delia is her stepmom, because Delia is very, she's Delia. She's me. I love Delia. Delia is my hero.
Yeah,
don't
she's
care what
not.
anybody
It's funny.
says.
She's not like bitchy. It's just like I don't even know how to explain it. Well, maybe she is. This is my art, and it is dangerous. Do you
No,
think I might die this way?
I had the same feeling too, where like Delia is a character, but she doesn't ever cross the line to being like a bad stepmother. She's just a very high, what's it called? High maintenance type of person. And
I know.
she's an
And what is
artist.
wrong with that? Hello. Oh my God. And if
Well,
I
since
one
you
more
guys have
person
seen it,
calls me princess, like it's a bad thing. Like
Princess?
seriously? No.
well, I liked.
Yeah.
It's funny because I like Delia in the movie, but then I also like her, the parents in the cartoon too. Like she's like that. She's very different in the cartoon.
And the cartoon, she's kind of ditzy, right? She's like, yeah, like it's very different. The cartoon is more kid friendly, I would definitely say.
Yeah, this is the second episode we do where there's a respective show for the movie, and I should have watched this show because I don't remember anything about the show except the intro, and that Beetlejuice was a little porkier than he was in the movie in the cartoon.
Yeah,
They made him cuter.
He's got a little pedge on him,
Yeah.
But but the movie is stacked with people. I mean, for Christ's sake, Robert Goulet is in this goddamn movie. So it's like, what is going on here? I know. I just like to say his name. And then but you have Catherine O'Hara, and obviously like she makes a lot of noise. She makes a lot of noises in the film, and she sounds like obviously she makes a lot of noises, but she sounds like Sally, right? Because I think this was right before A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's fun to hear her using the Sally voice, because you don't really hear her talking in that high pitch as much, And most people, like, if you grew up with Catherine O'Hara, like everyone knows her as Kevin's mom. Kevin, from Home Alone and stuff like that. And like obviously now Moira, but it's like she does so much, and she's just so great in this movie. Like I really think that she's the star of this movie. Like everybody always wants to talk about how Winona Ryder's so great in this film, and Lydia is like, the epitome of goth and blah blah blah. But I'm like, Delia is the fucking Delia, and not just Delia, but also Geena Davis, as Barbara. Like they kind of steal the show for me in this film. And so Lydia's just there. Lydia's kind of annoying.
Having watched it for the first time as an adult, I'm like, I don't understand why Winona Ryder's on all the Hot Topic shit, like, or whatever. Like, she really isn't the main character of this movie. Mm-hmm. And she's not, she's not like a bad character, but there's no, like, I don't feel for her. She's kind of just like an eye-rolly character. Because it really, to me, the main characters are Geena Davis and Alec Baldwin. And then you have Catherine O'Hara, who's there for like comedic relief. And even the guy who plays the husband, who apparently is like bad news. He was not anything standout. Oh, Catherine O'Hara and the guy who plays, apparently he was straight in the movie. Yeah. Otho or whatever. Like they were like the comedic relief. Like, I think they were like,
great.
He's too gay to play her husband, but we'll have him play her interior designer, and then just throw a random guy in as her husband.
Yeah.
No, in the stage play, they fix all those issues, so it's pretty funny. Yeah. For the first because they break it up in intermissions, but the second half, I'm like, where the hell is Otho? And he comes in the second half of the play, and I'm like, oh, okay, they really blew him up. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, in the play?
In the play, yeah, the musical.
Yeah, we have
Nice.
someone here that has attended the play.
He has very much more class than the rest of us.
Doug is a man of high art appreciation, whatever. But also, can we talk about Lydia's bangs and how they're almost as bad as Halloween Kills?
So and this is what when I was looking at her bangs today or yesterday because I was rewatching. I mean I watch Beetlejuice like once a year, usually around this time of year, and I'm looking at her bangs. I'm like, oh, that's why Johnny Depp's bangs were like that on Dark Shadows. I think that's like a shtick for the characters.
He was going for the Lydia.
He was going for
Mhm.
Lydia, yeah.
Hey, Johnny Depp, you want to stick one to Winona real quick? How about?
Yeah.
How about we steal her bangs, just like she stole the Barney sweater back in the day and call it,
I kind of started to
Uh,
wonder about that when we saw this about the makeup, because it's very similar to the kind of makeup they have like in the waiting room, where all the characters are very dark, kind of like you were saying, Mikey, about like theater style.
Mhm.
So I was wondering if maybe like if Johnny Depp was like, hey, let's just make this like a Beetlejuice back in the day, but like this other story.
yeah, I don't know. Mikey wasn't impressed though.
Just takes a lot. Like Shania
Oh.
Twain says, that don't impress me much.
I
Ooh.
know. True. But I mean, we have so many good people like Juno, Sylvia Sidney playing Juno. And just one of the best parts of the film, I think, in my opinion. Like so many of the women carry this film. And she like every time she's smoking the cigarette and it's coming out of her
A little
out of
stoma.
her
Throat,
neck.
yeah.
Her trach.
I just love it. It's so great. Like and then the whole sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's so funny how like this is PG, but like this wouldn't even be released as these days because like the suicide joke where she's like, what did she say when she pulls her wrists up and they're both slit?
Oh, if I knew what I knew now, I would never. Because like once you like, what is it?
Had this
Suicide,
accident or
you-
something.
Yeah, you like because what is it? It's that if you commit suicide, you end up working for the dead. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
because she's like, yeah, oh my God.
I was like,
but
oh, that wouldn't have been released today.
God forbid. I mean, and this is where you used to have fun, right? Like, because nobody's thinking anything of it. Like, come on now.
yeah. I mean, now if you don't take anything serious, and if the movie didn't end with a PSA about if you have any suicide thoughts, please call these numbers.
The suicide
Oh
hot.
my
It's been
God.
edited for the 4K to include that in the beginning.
Has
For
it
real
really?
though, guys.
Oh, really?
If you've no, but if you do consider suicide, please call the hotline.
Please.
But
Oh, not to laugh at that. Just
it's a serious.
It's funny. Yeah.
It's a serious topic, but if we can't make fun of shit, what's the point?
I mean, you'll be dead anyways. Who cares?
Adrian.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
I had a bad day. I'm taking all of you with me. I don't care. So
As always, she's like, drag me to hell. But going based off of a trivia fact, Tim Burton feared the Deo sequence wouldn't go over well since in his opinion, it wasn't very funny. He turned out to be wrong. Audiences loved it and think it's one of the film's most iconic scenes. But Tim Burton is right. It's not funny. But I don't think it's supposed to be funny though. Like it being not funny doesn't take away from the iconicness of the scene. Like, did y'all think it was funny?
I liked it
love
as a
that
kid.
scene.
I always wanted to find shrimp as big as those fingers. Where can I find finger-sized shrimps?
I know. Well, and that's what's so great because of the dichotomy of that scene. It's like supposed to be silly. They're kind of possessed, right? So we're talking possession here. And then like it's kind of lighthearted because it's such a like fun song like you listen to on vacation. And I always thought it was so funny. Remember when they're bending over and their butts are out? Like that's so funny. But then they sit down and the hands come up, and then that's where the horror hits.
Yeah.
Because like that was a little kid, like that always scared me when I saw the hands come up and like grab their faces, and why they didn't run after that I thought was a little strange, but they had the wet bar inside of the house. So now
previous
I
to
know
that moment, it was like campy as all hell. They're having a good time, like basically doing karaoke at that moment. But then all of a sudden, shrimp comes attacking your face, and then I mean, if you're a nice, good old fatty, you're like, "Yay, shrimp!" But if you're not,
wow, I feel attacked.
Well, those hands creep me out. Name another movie that has like shrimp fingers.
It.
Just going.
This
Well,
this scene it gives me very It vibes, but I know that well, I don't know, because was that scene the same in the book? Because I was gonna say this
well,
came
with
out first, but I don't
with
know.
the Chinese,
Yeah, the Chinese
thing.
restaurant scene.
Yeah, like oh gosh, I don't know, but I don't think
Who
Tim
stole
Burton
from
took that from
who?
Stephen King,
Yeah, I know. It
So
just
probably
kind of gives the
should-
same vibes.
because that and that's a hard. It is hard to get through. I started reading it and I was like, oh,
Yeah, it literally took me a year.
Oh,
It
wow.
was so hard to get through that I don't even remember the orgy scene that apparently everyone was talking about.
Well, Stephen King is hard to read. I don't know how people get through his books because I don't know what it is or how he writes or the way he writes. But it's very simple, but it's also kind of
It's very much, I get it. Let's stop talking about this fucking tree. It's already chapter 7.
I know. There's just something so I don't know what it is, but he's not on drugs anymore, so who knows. Anyway, but
So
let's go back to the thing.
Yeah, Stephen King's Beetlejuice. So with the song Deo, I don't understand. Maybe y'all know, why did they use that song? Because it's not like it was just in this scene. Like the movie starts off with that playing faintly in the background. Like that song is very prominent in the movie. Is there a reason?
Well, I mean, that's what Geena Davis and Alec Baldwin, that's the music they like to listen to. So they're like, oh, we'll just possess them and play the music we like. That's why it's played so prominently, because that's like every time you hear that music, that's like, oh, that's them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and especially with the song with Lydia at the end, and also too, remember they were quote on vacation when they died, so they were probably like in vacay mode, so listening to like all these fun things because they were gonna remodel their ugly ass house. Thank God with their ugly wallpaper he gave her. Yeah, if you gave me a present of wallpaper, we are done.
well, I'll give you a present of I just sent you some Manchurian tongue wells, so expect that in the mail.
I don't know what that is, but
Okay.
if they remade it, my vacation music that I would haunt people with would be like Cardi B, bongos. Just nonstop bongos and WAP. You'd know I was near with my WAP.
No,
Well, see,
I would just send the Bad Bunny.
I don't know, Mikey. You'd have a good possession party because that music when you were here, we were bumping in the car.
Oh yeah, Cupcake.
Oh my God.
Yahira was dying in the back seat listening to the lyrics of some of these songs.
Spray my smegma and come all over your eyes and suck my schlong out of my asshole. You fucking
Mikey!
cunt.
That is not the lyrics. It's anytime my pussy wanna be hairy like Harry Potter, Becky with the good hair is what you can call her.
Oh, Jesus.
I remember being more vulgar.
I'm sorry.
There
but
are more.
I have no hair there, so I don't know why we're talking about this.
Only
song.
time I'm not
Anyways.
on the dick is when I've got the shits. Pubic hair in my mouth, not again. Let me suck your dick now. I need bobby pins.
All I can think about now is that
Who
scene with that
needs-
music going on.
Who needs a gym to work you out? I want my face to lose weight, so stroke my mouth. There you go.
Oh, there it is.
Sorry, I'm getting Lance really excited, guys.
I'm just saying, who's the artist?
Her name is
Well, that's what I'm
Cupcake with
saying.
2 A's.
Yeah, if
Oh,
Mikey
cool.
was possessing these people at the dinner party, they'd be shaking their ass to that. So.
Yeah, they'd be like, please don't possess the church or an elementary school.
No children harmed in this.
Anyway, so Michael Keaton plays the iconic Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. I don't know why it's spelled differently in on the
Beetlejuice,
trailer.
Beetlejuice. Probably because people can't fucking read because this is America. So we have to, put it as, Beetlejuice. And now we know what it is.
They were probably sponsored by a Minute Maid. That's why that had that one scene. Where he
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
puffs
Yeah,
it
this is
up.
the Minute Maid.
Can't say
Oh.
Beetlejuice to a juice moment.
This is the second time in a row that we watched a Tim Burton movie where I was like, I would beat the shit out of this person if they came to me like that. With Dark Shadows, it was, the witch who basically cursed me for 197 years. And with this, it's that lady who keeps coming by telling me that they showed my house to somebody and it's too small for me and I can't have kids and it's too small. I would have dog walked her, as the prophet Cardi B told Tommy Lauren. I just don't understand these characters and how they're just fine with it.
Well, she was family. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have everyone's got a family member like that. Yeah, she was Geena Davis's sister, I think. So
Really?
Was she?
yeah.
I didn't
She
catch
was.
that at all.
She said, yeah. She said something that their family, the realtor, but
Oh.
I didn't know how they were related.
She was
Even more
Geena
reason
Davis's
to beat her
sister. Yeah.
ass.
So
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Here, let's like, yeah, and that's the thing. It's that, and I never noticed this now until I watched it yesterday. That remember when they go down to the store? It's his store.
He owns
It's
a
called
hardware store.
Maitland's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I never noticed that before, and I was like, oh, it's
That
his
or
store.
he's just randomly going to somebody else's hardware store and robbing them.
Well, I just figured he went in and bought it and came out again. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, I thought that was cute. But I will say that the best part watching it last year when I was watching it with my kids, the part with when they almost hit the dog and then they fell off the bridge and the dog's on the plank.
Oh
And
yeah.
all the kids are like, what? Dog killed her. And it was just like the funniest thing because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot it's the dog's fault. Like he walked in front of the car and then he like,
Yeah.
but would you die from falling off that little bridge? Like, you
No.
get it.
It depends. Some of those cars, when it was hit a certain way, the brakes would automatically lock and you drown. I think they'd probably drown, not like die on impact.
well, they had their seatbelts on too, so I'm sure like if you're freaking out and your seatbelt's on, you don't, you're gonna drown. So
Well,
Yeah, but they're not like
Terrible.
automatic like the ones we have now. They're like old school ones that barely
Yeah.
even worked in the
well,
first
no,
place.
those are
It's
the
like-
ones. Those are the ones you want because the automatic ones only have a certain amount of time underwater before they stop working.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I'm saying if they didn't happen to get knocked out, which would be probably the only way it would have happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that's the
maybe
only way
hit
they
their
would have drowned
head.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
we,
did
we,
you
we need the unrated cut that has the gruesome death scene in it.
well, did you the original script for this here? I don't know if you guys looked at the trivia for that, but the script, it was supposed to be like a really bad car accident, like they crash head on and they'd be all gored and stuff. And then Beetlejuice was supposed to be like a Israeli or no, like a Middle Eastern bat winged serpent guy, and he like comes to life and he like starts clawing Delia's eyes out in the scene. So, but
Oh,
they cut
Jesus.
back on that. So yeah, no, look it up. I'm serious.
That's
Hmm.
crazy. That's awesome though.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah. I don't think it would have worked out so well.
The original title was called House Ghosts, which is stupid because there's only one. I mean, I guess not. When Geena
No,
Davis
there's three. Well, yeah, Geena Davis and Alec Baldwin, and then Beetlejuice technically like he's not even a ghost. He's a I don't want to say a
Bio
demon.
exorcist or something. I don't
Yeah,
even know.
yeah. He's technically a poltergeist.
Yeah, he's a poltergeist. Yeah,
Hence the name.
That's
Oh,
not-
that's right.
but that's not what a poltergeist was.
Well, right, but isn't
Okay.
that his name though? Beetlegeist, hence the
Beetlegeist. No,
no,
but
for
he's
poltergeist.
he's
I
a
think-
malevolent. He's not necessarily a ghost. He's not.
Lance.
He's not.
Well,
a
no, that's what I'm
demon.
saying.
I would say he was more of a poltergeist. Yes, I would take you for that. But Lance, there's no T in Beetlejuice.
Yeah, and also I would like to go on record
I mean,
saying
at
that
the
I
end.
know what a poltergeist is, and it's not
I
a single
was like,
entity.
really?
Yes,
Um,
Mikey has them throughout his home right now, so you should know.
I don't know what she's talking about, but
That was the
um,
person on his camera on his social media post. It was a poltergeist.
yeah, he was real
Mm.
hot. A poltergeist is not a single entity, everybody. That's where the problem lies. Thank you. At any rate, as a joke, Tim Burton suggested the name Scared Sheetless, and the studio was like, "Oh, that sounds great. We might use it." So whatever.
I did
Michael-
read that somewhere. That was funny.
No, you
They
didn't,
actually
Lance.
do
This is
it.
the first time we've heard it. Now laugh.
Could you imagine though if that was the title of this movie? Would we still be talking about this movie today? Like,
No.
who's gonna say sheetless, sheetless, sheetless? Like it's Beetlejuice, right? Like, well, I
Well,
guess his name's
I mean, that's technically the thing, because even those movies called Beetlejuice is only in the movie for like 10 minutes. I think like he's like the original Freddy Krueger. He's only in the movie for like 10, 11 minutes, the
Yeah.
whole runtime.
and it's called Beetlejuice, and it's just so strange because he really does have no time in the film. Like, I was watching it yesterday, and I was like, God, where the fuck is Beetlejuice? Because I'm like washing dishes, making dinner. I'm like, I feel like he should have been here by now. Like, I mean, I watch it every year, but I never really pay attention because, like, you just put it on during the fall because it's time, it's showtime, as you say. So I don't know. It's just weird. It's he leaves such a mark, right, for not even being in the movie.
Well, I think that's why it works, and I think that's why so many people like just rewatch it all the time, because like everyone remembers Beetlejuice, but then it's like, I'll just pop it in because and then you get all this other stuff. I mean, the whole movie is great, I think, but everyone remembers Beetlejuice, so it's like you're getting that 11 minutes, you got to sit down for 90 minutes. It's not even that long of a movie. It's really short. I mean,
It felt long. But I don't know who was like in charge of the designs, but like when they have like the big face like this, like the eyeballs and stuff, that was really creative. I like that.
Yeah, you can buy those dolls now at Spirit, which I think is really cute, little stuffy.
I don't support Spirit Halloween.
I know we don't support Spirit after Mikey's debacle.
We're in a public feud, which people keep liking, and I'm like, stop! You're gonna get me in trouble again.
Oh, I know. Oh my god, that one was shit show. Anyways, but yeah, no, like that whole thing, I think with the Maitlands when they were, making their faces, that was always so scary. Like that was like as a kid when you remember that one, and then when she's getting old and her jaw drops off.
I still think like the random whorehouse they put it in this movie somehow without anybody going,
See, but when you're a kid, you don't know what that is. I mean, maybe you did because you're a boy and gross.
Like,
but...
It's still like, I mean, you want to explain that to your child why they put that there to stop him from being, and then all of a sudden he has horns in him, so he's horny, so hence why he's going towards a porn house.
Oh, I get it. That's cute. I just got that. Oh my god.
Yeah, but there's tons of jokes like that in older movies and even older cartoons where it's like the parents laugh and they're just hoping that the kids aren't confused and ask questions about it.
Yeah, no, yeah. The kids, you don't know. As a kid, you're watching. Well, like I said, I'm a girl. I'm not a horny little boy. But as a kid, I didn't notice that scene and as an adult, I still didn't get it. Obviously, I mean, I know that it was a little strip club he was going to, but I didn't realize that he was horny until just now. But anyways, obviously, if you're not looking at it like that, it's fine. I don't think it's a problem. Like I said, 16 Candles came out in 84, 83, and they had full huge close-up shot of wet boobs of what's her face in the shower, and that was rated G.
Yeah, but also you're talking about that's definitely in that same era of movies like that where like everything's sold with like that kind of sex appeal / boobs everywhere. It's like,
yeah,
that's all I know.
Yeah, like whatever. I mean, I don't think it was a big deal, and I don't think it would be a big deal now. Like if you showed your kids now, I don't think they're going to say anything. Like
I don't think you'd be able to get that scene in the movie now if you were making it. I mean, I'd be shocked if in like Beetlejuice 2 that's coming out next year, right? It's like if they even have anything close to the same things going on. Beetlejuice might be more scarier actually this time around.
Well, okay, so what should and this is my issue with this. So do we think that part 2 is actually going to enhance or be a
de-age him? Oh.
No, Michael Keaton is still hot. Like, come on now. Who doesn't love Beetlejuice?
Just go some makeup.
No, there is something sexually appealing about him in this one. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I guess I would have married him. He's like every other guy I date.
Well, last night I was thinking, because I couldn't sleep because I had the gym in the morning and I always like can't sleep when I know I have to wake up early. And I was like, the root of all my problems with men stems from when I started watching Johnny Bravo.
Well, Johnny Bravo couldn't get laid. That's
your SNS show right there. There you go.
Those are my Johnny Bravos.
Johnny Bravos.
Watch out. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So there's I found the origination of my love for toxic men is Johnny Bravo.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Well, but speaking of things that don't make sense, the budget for the movie was estimated $15 million. In the opening weekend in US and Canada, it made $8,030,897. I think that's pretty okay for back then. It was just opening weekend. The gross in the US and Canada was $74,664,000. Gross worldwide was $74,714,000. So I don't know if it just wasn't popular in other countries, or maybe in '88 other countries weren't really like showing that many movies. I don't know how like cinema has evolved in different countries other than what we know,
Yeah.
because it's definitely gotten more popular in other countries, whereas before, sometimes you talk to people in other countries, they're like, movies weren't really a big deal for us. But I thought that was interesting because that basically means like a little more than $100,000 was made for Beetlejuice worldwide besides the US and Canada.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, but also too, if you look at it, it is an independent film, isn't it? So that sort of makes sense.
No, this was
why...
a studio film.
No, this was
Was it?
this
No,
Was it?
this is
Yeah,
A24.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. I honestly, if it was probably in this day and age, it kind of comes off looking as it didn't do well really at the beginning, and then it just slowly kind of grinded to get some more money at the end. Like maybe because I mean, what 88? You're not talking about internet too, so you're just talking about word of mouth.
Oh
Type
yeah,
of,
Warner Brothers. Shit.
you know,
Yeah.
like I mean,
Isn't a movie deemed successful if it made 3 times its budget, or did I just pull that out of my ass? I thought I heard that somewhere.
Well,
it
I
has to
think
be. I would imagine that sounds logical. You know,
the
'Cause
fact
this-
that they made it for 15 and it made 74, that was pretty good back then. So.
Yeah, that's more than like
And then that's not
Mhm.
including video rentals and stuff. Because growing up, everyone I knew had this VHS as a kid.
Yeah.
So
we always
everyone had it.
rented it. We always rented it.
And then a fun fact for you, remember when Netflix used to mail their DVDs in the mail?
yeah.
The very
Yeah.
first DVD they ever mailed was Beetlejuice. So there you go.
Really?
Well, did you
Mhm.
know that they're ending their
Nice.
DVD service, and if you have a DVD of theirs past a certain date, you can just keep it?
Yeah.
Who the hell is still ordering the DVD? Who is still doing that?
No one
I
now.
thought that.
I know
thought
someone.
Oh, that ended
thought-
that ended like 20 years ago. What are you talking about?
No,
I
ma'am.
thought they just went to Redbox. They're like, hey, we don't have to change anything. Just color over Netflix.
No, it ended recently, and it sounds ridiculous, but if you think about it, Netflix doesn't always have everything, and if it's a small upcharge to like get a DVD that you can't find on Netflix but that just came out, sure, I would do it. Like, I'll just wait for it in the mail.
Yeah, well, I still do Redbox because you believe it or not, here's a weird thing. Because Yahira's mom lives with us and she only like knows Spanish. So if you stream something, if you want to watch a new movie or something, a lot of times they don't have the Spanish subtitles. So I have to rent the Blu-ray or the DVD and play it here because only those have like the Spanish subtitles. So there you
Yeah.
go.
I'll do Redbox once in a while because on T-Mobile they give away shit on Tuesdays, and sometimes, more often than not, it's a free Redbox rental. And so, like, if there's something I want to see that just came out on DVD that's not on streaming, I just use that.
Oh, I didn't even know Redbox still existed. To be honest.
Yeah, there's one at Stater Hose right next to me. So
Wow,
Am I
I've
the
never
only
seen 'em.
one? I feel like I'm the only one here is too lazy to put the DVD in the damn thing. If it's streaming, I'll just stream it instead.
it's
Ooh,
like,
I have to
what's
get up?
Redbox?
Like I can't if I could just get it if I have to get up and stick it in something, I'm not doing. Oh, that's not.
well,
anyway.
you want to know what? Sometimes, like on weekends or something, if I'm really stoned and I have to go return a Blu-ray over to the Redbox, I'll quote Beetlejuice. I'm like, and I see it. It's like, please insert into slot, and it's like the arrow. I'm like, ooh, I'm getting a little anxious.
Well, I am building my 4K collection, so I do have to stick things in my PS5 from time to time. I have 4 now, just so y'all know.
Oh, you got to get
all
Toxic
of our
Avenger.
TVs are 4K, but we don't have a 4K player, so
You don't have a PlayStation or Xbox?
no,
Yeah.
not cool.
Wow, damn.
Yeah, get one because you'll see a huge. In fact, this one was one that I watched the 4K of this. I gave Mikey the Blu-ray because I have the 4K of this one,
He gave me
and
his
there's
chump
details
change.
I've never seen. There's so
hand-me-downs.
much detail in the hand-me-downs.
He does that though because you have so many copies
send
of
it,
like
yeah.
different guys. He just
No,
sends it
I
out.
love that. I mean, I think it's if you grew up a certain way with having siblings in certain households, hand-me-downs are not like bad. It's just like extra presents.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, that's what I like about like the physical media collection stuff. Like, if I get something, it's weird, but I like giving stuff to people because I'm like, okay, they have a piece of me. You know what I mean?
Nice. I like that.
I mean,
but
that's what sex is for also.
Oh, we always have
Yeah,
a piece of
sex
you,
too.
Doug.
Oh yeah, well,
Doug,
that's what they all say.
I have night mother sitting on my nightstand still
So
staring
do
at
I.
me, and I'm like,
Watch it. The movie's really good.
Night
I
Mother's
know
like
it's really good. I'm not in the mood to cry.
I had a mental breakdown at the end of that, or not a mental breakdown, but I'm just like, holy shit, I haven't cried like that, like a fucking.
I
Holy
cried
shit.
reading the goddamn play. I can't imagine watching the freaking.
The movie's really good.
I got my I Know What You Did Last Summer 4K, and I opened it and I was like, why is there two? And so I didn't know that they also give you a Blu-ray, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Like, I can't DP my DVD player with this.
Well,
So
now you can give it to Doug.
Or can you?
So side note, so Mikey asked me a very interesting question the other day in the chat,
oh yeah.
to which Jason had a very snarky response, and I was not happy with his
Well, let me
response.
pose the question to the group, and then I will give my reasoning of why I didn't know. Because originally you're like, okay, I'm obviously Jennifer Love Hewitt. 8 is obviously Sarah Michelle Gellar because I'm more Final Girl material. But
Hmm.
Jennifer Love Hewitt's also a bitch in the movie. And so I'm like, well, then 8 automatically is in the running. So it's like, you know, and then Sarah Michelle Gellar actually gets nicer as the movie progresses.
Well,
Even though
because I'm
she's like,
actually kind of nice.
no, ma'am. So I'm sure we have some patrons that will think otherwise. But I was just confused because, you know, in both characters, you usually have like the virginal, nice final girl, and then you have like the slutty, crazy blonde best friend that dies. And they start off like that, but also I don't know if y'all realize that. And I Know What You Did Last Summer, Julie has sex on the beach, so she's not even a virgin. Well, they both do. And so they start off like that, but then they switch where like Sarah Michelle Gellar is much more empathetic, and like you feel for her, especially whenever there's that really cunty scene where she's like, I just miss like the way that we were. And Jennifer Love Hewitt's like, yeah, I miss a lot of things. I was like, bitch. And so it's just, I was conflicted of who would play who.
Well,
Out of you two?
Yeah.
yeah.
Who else?
Yeah, no, I figured, but it was like, so who's who at this one?
If we had to
Which
do a
one's
remake,
Who would play Jennifer Love Huge Tits?
Clearly, Lance did not read the chat.
clearly they just weren't fucking listening to what I just said the past 2 minutes.
No, I caught it, but I was like, I was like, oh, because it makes it harder because I'm thinking, I was like, well, fuck.
Well, it's hard for me because I've never seen the movie before.
Oh my god.
Oh man, Doug.
Doug, how have you never seen that movie? Come on.
I did see one of them, but the one with Jack Black. That's all I remember.
That's
Oh
the
my
second
God.
one, which
That's
is my
part two.
next
I
4K.
love part 2.
That's the one I've seen.
I like part 2 more than I like part 1, in my opinion.
Part 2 definitely does Julie a lot more service with being okay. Yeah, she's a final girl now. Because part 1, she's just lucky she wasn't around when the fisherman was there, and then at the end, she doesn't even do anything. She gets saved by Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Sorry.
I know.
I had to be nice
I was
in
gonna
case he
marry
was the
him
bad
back
review.
in the day. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think it was obviously, but we know who's who.
I mean, just look at my tits and look at hers. Easy. Signed, sealed, delivered.
It's the areolas.
Well,
Gets you every time.
Everybody likes to say I'm a fucking princess, and that's how. Well, no, so in the chat I said that I love toxic men and I'm obsessed with my hair, and so that's why I would be Sarah Michelle Gellar. Because Jason said that I would not be her because I don't like small blonde women. I go, that's not true. I just don't like Chloe Grace fucking Moretz.
I think I do remember that part of the conversation.
Oh, now it rings a bell.
Yeah, I just thought it was going into a rant about that poor girl again. So I was like, I'm not listening to this anymore.
Oh yeah, I forgot Lance is a fan. Sorry. Lance doesn't like when we talk smack about Chloe Grace Moretz or Jenna Jameson. So he has affinity for blonde women. So
clearly, yeah.
It's fine.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
It's
okay. Fine. They're both strong, independent women who don't need no men. Especially Jenna Jameson.
And they all hang out at Tanqueray's.
But yeah. So anyways, 1988's Beetlejuice. We have the new one coming up, I think next year. What are your guys' thoughts and prayers for part 2? Any fears y'all have?
I'm excited for it. I'm waiting for Delia to say I wasn't part of this because I was not part of the patriarchy.
Oh my god, Doug. We get it. You saw Exorcist Believer.
I didn't see it. Not yet. But no, I'm excited for it because the thing is, like, even if it does kind of like whatever, because here's the thing. I feel like Beetlejuice 2 is probably going to be how Dumb and Dumber 2 was, like when that one came out. Everyone was all excited for it, and then it just was lips are flapping in the wind and just fart like everyone forgot about that. You know what I mean? So we'll see. It could be like that, yeah. But I mean, I'm just excited for more Beetlejuice merch because I used to love the Beetlejuice Nintendo game. I used to have that.
Oh, yeah.
I used to play it all the time. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I don't think Bim Turton's gonna let that happen to Beetlejuice because the other Dumb and Dumber one, like, yeah, it came and went, but who was behind that? I'm interested to see because Wednesday's like my favorite thing he's ever done, but I know that aesthetic is completely not Beetlejuice. So I'm interested to see if he can bring it back to what it was, but also incorporate some of the stuff that he does now to maybe make it better.
Yeah.
My fear is that I love Jenna Ortega. Jenna Ortega, fan of the show, I know you're listening. I just don't want her to be Wednesday in the show.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
please
it's gonna be
don't.
it's very close in a similar manner. My
Yeah.
worry, honestly, is kind of what we were talking about with Michael Keaton, is maybe they're gonna give him too much time on film. You know what I mean? Where like before, maybe it was the right amount, and that's why it seemed so good because his scenes were so, you know what I mean? It's like he had the funny parts, but there wasn't that many of them. So I was like, okay, this is cool, and that's why I enjoyed him as much as I. Where if you give him too much and now he becomes the main focus, that might deter the whole thing. And I'm like, ugh, I can't handle having Michael Keaton being this character so much and so long. That's a little of a fear. Speaking of it now, thinking about it, you're like, oh wow, there really wasn't that many moments with him on the original one.
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe they will keep him sparse because it's going to cost to put him back in that makeup to look like he didn't age. And maybe that's
Yeah.
a way of saving, I feel like even though I'm not like a huge Tim Burton fan, I feel like he's smart enough to like know these things.
I hope
Not
so.
that I'm like, his official defender or anything, but that's just me. Because it's not
Well-
like a typical sequel where it's like a director we don't really know much about doing it. It's like, he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Well, not even that, but I just honestly like I have that cartoon box set, but if you watch the cartoons and stuff, like I'll keep it on like in the background sometimes. I feel like that's the sequel. It's more
Yeah.
kid friendly,
Oh, I
but
see what you're saying. Yeah.
it follows a lot of the same stuff as like what happened after the first one. It's just kind of there, except you don't get Geena Davis and Alec Baldwin. So
Do they relate to the movie at all in the cartoon? I
yeah,
don't
it relates
remember
a lot. Yeah, they live in the same house. So
Yeah.
Well, right, but I mean,
Everything's
like,
the
as in, do
same.
they like do they
Story-wise.
acknowledge the do they acknowledge the fact that he disappeared or got eaten or any of those things? I wonder.
um
From the first,
He's afraid of the sandworms.
he's afraid of the sandworms.
yeah,
like,
he's
like
always.
yeah, like the sandworms. It's funny because the sandworms in the cartoon are like hell. So if you go to like court or you get a parking ticket in
Yeah.
in the Netherworld or the whatever, when you die, it's like, okay, we're gonna send you to the sandworms for 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Your own
So-
personal Dune hell.
yeah.
It's interesting because if I think I don't know if we need a sequel, honestly. And I think that the sequel, like we're all excited for it because it's very nostalgic for us. But he's going to have to pander to the
Woke
Generation.
America.
yeah, and that's what bothers me because obviously this film is not quote woke. It's a product of its time, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I don't know what they're going to have to do. I think by bringing in Jenny Ortega is going to bring in the Wednesday audience. So I think that was a good move for them. But if they fall in line too much of kind of pandering to those to the Zennials and not to the people who love it, there is a good fine line, I think, of bringing all of the audiences together, especially with something like this. Will he do it? I don't know.
Well, the only thing I'm hoping that they don't do is what Halloween Kills did, where every character, like every few minutes, this happened 20 years ago, 40 years ago. Do you remember this night 40 years ago? 40. Fuck you and your 40 years. I'm tired of like quit doing that. If I want to watch the first movie, I'll, quit reminding me the first, you know what I mean? Like 40 years ago, 40 years ago. 40
Well, I
years.
think it would be interesting to kind of see how Lydia grows up because maybe Lydia sort of kind of becomes Delia in a way. Like she grows up and she grows out of her nonsense, but then she sort of has like, or on the flip side, because we don't really know, Jenny Ortega could be like a little Delia, and like Winona Ryder not hates her, but she doesn't know what to do with her because
Yeah.
she's nothing like her, right?
She's
So
just like
that
grandma.
would be interesting. Yeah, that would be so interesting, and so I would really like to see like a different take and not something that we could actually like sort of predict, because I think if we can predict it, it's gonna suck, right? I mean, you can't take these characters. Are we gonna have Geena Davis? Can we have Alec Baldwin back? I don't know, because everybody's mad at him right now. So
Not as mad as
it's
the
like,
dad.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
well, obviously may he rest in peace, right? No,
Did
he's
he
probably
die?
with. Well, no, but he'll probably be with the sandworms if they say anything.
Oh.
And then,
Oh, and then Monica
so
Bellucci. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Monica Bellucci plays Beetlejuice's wife, and she is so hot. I remember I saw her. I know she's from a bunch of shit, but I saw her in The Matrix, and I don't know which number it was. I was like, who is this beautiful woman?
Beetlejuice's wife. Is this the new one you're talking about?
Yeah,
So Beetlejuice has a wife.
yeah. I guess it didn't work out with Winona Ryder.
Well, that was the thing, because so when
Is
I
that
was
the
watching the
finger
film,
in the
he
pocket?
has to marry her so he can come out of
Right,
like,
right.
yeah. So he has to marry somebody.
Yeah,
So it
and
makes sense. Yeah.
William Defoe's in it also.
Willem,
nice.
my Willem Dafoe. My God, I love him.
I would
Well,
kind of love it. Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say the sequel might actually work if they explain a lot of the lore. Because if you want, like Beetlejuice, there's so much stuff that's explained, that's not explained. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I gotta get married. I don't make the rules. You know, so kind
Yeah.
of explain like where did you come from? Because Beetlejuice is actually like a Milky Way star. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that's why he said like, oh, the sandworms are on Saturn. So you go outside, you get sent to Saturn. So maybe Death is in space somewhere. I don't know.
Maybe
Oh,
he's in the
that's
same
interesting.
universe as Pennywise.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
Well, so
Yeah.
Justin Theroux's in it, and Justin Theroux is very weird, very hot, but very weird. So what if it's
Yes.
like Justin Theroux kind of plays a similar entity, and they have to go to Beetlejuice for help?
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, maybe he's the apprentice for Beetlejuice.
Well, because
That's
if Beetlejuice
true.
is married and he's kind of, because he didn't really do what he did in the first one because he was evil. He just kind of like, you know, he wanted
Trying to
to.
get out.
He was trying
He
to get
doesn't
out.
play well with others. He wants to get out. And so I think that's a pretty good, but that's what she says, doesn't play well with others. And I think it's a really
Yeah.
good motive for him, or for his character to behave the way that he does, because I don't necessarily think that he's evil.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just think that he's looking out for number one. And
Yeah.
Michael Keaton does such a good job with that. And he's played characters like this before. There's an episode of him where he plays Frasier's brother-in-law, Lilith's brother, in Frasier, and
Mhm.
he's like a con artist, and he's so fucking good. And I forget how good like he is at playing such a good villain. And so I don't know. I think that I'm hoping they do him justice. I don't want
What
to
if
just
they?
see him for 5 minutes. I would like to see him longer.
What if they made him the new Juno? Like when he was in the
Oh,
afterlife at the end, and he
smoking a
becomes the new
cigarette.
Juno, and that's his part of his situation. Is he's now the actual ghost that has to deal with all this shit.
That's
Well, I
funny.
wonder if they're gonna for the new sequel, because on the musical you find out that Juno is Beetlejuice's mom, and that's why she hated him. So
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
I don't
Nice.
think that's canon. I don't think Tim Burton wrote the stage play, because she mentioned that he was her assistant. You think she would have
Yeah, that's
said
what I'm
something
saying.
earlier?
That's why I thought it'd be funny if he actually ended up in her job, because obviously he knows how to work the job.
Yeah, but as I looked at the cast list, just seeing who's in it, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I feel like we're gonna go somewhere where Beetlejuice has to help them and either defeat Justin Theroux or Willem Dafoe. I'm a rhymer. But with that said, we are coming up on the hour. We decided to gab a lot longer than I intended. My chicken's probably burning in the oven.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you everybody for listening to round 3 of Tim Roth's Halloween, presented by Beetlejuice. If you want to support us monetarily, you can find us at Patreon at patreon.com/slasherspod, or you can find us on Instagram at Mutant Goons from Beyond. You can find Aid at Pathologically Aid. You can find Lance at Zombie versus Hate. You can find Doug at Doug Bizarro, or me at Horror and a Half Shell. It's basically just me commenting on SNS, whatever they're called. Redbubble, if you want anything with Slashers merch, from Copy Can to Dental Dams, which, by the way, I found out we have like a He-Man inspired shirt that I really want.
Yeah, I've had that shirt. Why
Yeah,
are you
I
just
love
now
that.
discovering that shirt?
Because
I have it here.
I'm just here for the sex appeal, not to actually look at things.
Okay. Yeah, no,
Dogs.
I have one for Dan. He never wears it though.
Did he wear it once at least? Because you can send it to me.
Oh yeah. Mikey wants your man smelling He-Man shirt.
He Dan.
Tell it Redbubble now makes them in golf shirts. So
Ooh.
Ew. But anyways, I think that's all the plugs that we have to do. Facebook group.
Patreon.com/slasherspod if you want to support us monetarily. By
That
the
was
way,
the first thing I said.
Oh, okay, I wasn't listening. Oh, but by the way, our 13.
Don't forget all the pennies.
I'm
I'm gonna
sorry,
throw some-
Aid.
I'm throwing pennies at Lance in a minute if he interrupts me one more time.
You're gonna throw your panties at
Um,
Lance.
Ooh.
Yeah.
ooh, that's pennies from
Um,
heaven.
Ew. Penny smelling
Penny.
panties.
I hate all of
No,
you.
that's wet pennies. That's
Ew, okay, no. But our 13 days of Halloween challenge is coming up soon. So be on the lookout for that, guys, because this is coming out Monday. Oh, no, it already came out tomorrow. Okay. Mikey, take that out. So our 13 days of Halloween challenge is here. So make sure you follow along with us, watch our videos, give us a like. Let us know what movie you would pick for that day because, you know, we're coming up on our favorite Halloween or holiday is Halloween, right? So we're coming
Oh
up
my
on our.
God, just go to bed, Aid.
This is terrible. I gotta go home. I gotta get out of here. I know. I really do. I'm so fucking tired. You have no idea. Anyways, Mikey, take us home.
Okay, so I already did all the stuff I had to do. I tried to give Aid an exit, but she wanted to come on and say, look out for our 13 days of Halloween.
Because our 13 days of Halloween. So, like, y'all, please like our episode or little videos, share it, and then let us know what movie you would pick for that day.
Yeah.
Because I think the only movie that is chosen for sure is Hocus Pocus.
Ew. Also, comment on the video
Yes.
that you think is the worst one and tell them to never make a video again. That'd be fun.
Exactly.
Mm.
As long as it's not me. It's not
yeah.
me.
We listened to all the comments, so you'll see like, oh, what happens when we die? We'll all end up in the corporate office world.
I don't understand. But anyways,
Watch Beetlejuice.
I did watch Beetlejuice twice, thanks to you, Doug, for supplying me with the Blu-ray. Everybody have a good time. Goodbye and good day. So yeah, that's the end.
Bye.
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 Oh, thank God.
That was a hot mess, everybody. I'm just
Oh, that was so bad. It really was.
Oh, that's
There-
fine. This is like
Mikey,
just
there
say
was
it's a drunk
no
episode.
structure.
I
I
tried to
was-
have structure, but these two boys are on some shit today.
Hey, I thought it was pretty good.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Doug.
Cool story, bro. No, stop.